if you don't master yourself, if you don't master your own mind, your own mindset, your own emotions, then you'll be a victim to your own emotions, to your conditioned mindset, and to external circumstances. And if you truly want to be free in the inside, on the inside, and perform at a higher level than you're currently performing at, it's critically important that you learn to master yourself and learn how to deal with those uncomfortable emotions that you might be feeling, that might be stopping you from reaching your fullest potential, that might be stopping you from doing the things that you want to do, performing at your true level, or simply transforming yourself. So let's start talking about how to deal with those uncomfortable emotions, how to master yourself internally. The information that I'm going to share with you right now doesn't come from a book. It's not theory. This is real field on the field experience, okay? This comes from helping hundreds and hundreds of people, from elite athletes to entrepreneurs to high executives, helping them master themselves in order to reach their full potential, transform themselves, and become the next versions of themselves, the next versions of themselves that are capable of pulling off the vision that they have for themselves. So listen carefully, and we'll learn how to deal with those uncomfortable emotions that might be stopping you. If you don't master yourself, you'll be a victim, as I said before, to your own internal world, to your own emotions, to your own conditioned, past conditioned way of thinking, and to external circumstances. And we don't want that, because if we are that kind of person, then we are victims to life. And if you're a victim to life, you're never going to reach your full potential. You're never going to reach your next level. You're never going to transform into those next versions of yourselves. In the past, my emotions controlled me. I wanted to be a professional tennis player when I was a kid, when I was in my early teen years. I played amazing, high level, but when it came to matches, to actual tournaments, to playing those matches, I simply I was blocked, completely blocked, because my mindset was shit. My emotions played against me. I didn't have a high level of self mastery or self awareness. Therefore, everything that I felt affected me. Everything that I thought automatically affected me. And everything that happened externally also affected me. Therefore, I didn't end up being a professional tennis player. But thanks to that lack that I experienced during those years trying to be a professional tennis player, I developed mental models and self mastery models that have helped me reach a very high level of self mastery and help thousands of people directly and indirectly with their self mastery. So, first thing that you need to understand is that you're a human being and you're gonna feel emotions. Okay, it's a completely normal thing. We're gonna go deeper into the topic. Don't worry, but just to start with, it's critically important that you understand that you're a human being and that you're going to feel emotions. Sometimes you'll be sad, sometimes you won't feel motivated, sometimes you will feel apathy, or you might even feel depressed from time to time. And other times you might be extremely happy and extremely motivated, and this is the human experience. We all feel emotions. But what I've seen with a lot of people is that they try to get rid of certain emotions, they try to eliminate certain emotions, they judge certain emotions, like I don't want these emotions, I want only these emotions, right? They fight against how they feel. And the problem with trying to get rid of the way you feel and get and fight against how you feel and judge how you feel is that this all of this is are forms of resistance, and what you resist persists. So if you fight against how you feel, if you want to eliminate how you feel, if you judge how you feel, you're not going to get rid of how you feel. Those uncomfortable emotions will keep on rising and popping up and controlling you. So let's start with the first crucial, important point. You are awareness. You are the observer. Most people live their life through the way they feel. I feel sad, then I don't act, or I act like a sad person. I feel sad and I start thinking like a sad person. I'm motivated now, so I think like a motivated person and I act motivated. But when I'm unmotivated, I don't act, or I act unmotivated or with apathy. So most people, I want you to understand that most people live through the way they feel. Everything they feel affects them. And this happened to me when I was a kid, when I was in my teen years. That's why my emotions played against me. My mindset was shit. I didn't understand that I could choose the way I think. I didn't understand that I could choose where I focused and where I directed my focus. So everything that I felt affected me because I didn't understand that I was awareness. I thought that I was everything that I felt and everything that popped up in my mind as thoughts or intrusive thoughts or negative or limiting thoughts. I thought I was all of that until I started to create a little separation between what I thought and what I felt and myself. I'm awareness. You're awareness. You're the observer. You're not the emotion that you're feeling. Therefore, for the simple act of creating a little bit of distance, of separation, of observing how you feel and what thoughts might pop up, already the energetic field of those emotions that might be controlling you won't control you as much. Simply by creating this distance. And you create this distance because some people ask me, like, how do I create the distance? Simply observe how you feel. Okay? Don't react to how you feel. Don't let yourself get hooked on an emotion. Simply observe the emotion. Observe how you feel. Where can you feel it? Where can you feel the emotion? Is it a knot in your chest? Do you feel it in your shoulder? Where do you feel the emotion? Because you're not the emotion, you're simply the observer. It's the same as if you had, for example, a pimple. I think you call pimple, right? Un grano in Spanish, a pimple. You are attractive, but just because you have a pimple doesn't mean that you are unattractive. You're still attractive, but you have a pimple, but you don't give a fuck about the pimple because you observe the pimple. You're not the pimple. But the problem with most people is that they think they're the pimple. When they feel an emotion, they think, oh, I'm feeling this shit. I don't want to feel this way. And that is the problem because what you resist persists. That is a form of resistance. And if you keep on resisting what you're feeling and trying not to feel a certain way, you will keep on feeling the same exact way. So the first point is very simple. You're not the emotion itself. You are awareness. You are the observer. You are the one that is aware of how you feel. By simply being aware, by simply observing how you feel, and not thinking through the lenses of that emotion or those emotions, you create this distance and this separation between how you feel and yourself. This is critically important. For example, with the athletes that I work with, it's not the same as a normal human being. For example, a tennis player experiences more ups and downs through a match than a normal person will experience through an entire week, right? So the tennis player needs to understand this point perfectly. Also, high level executives, entrepreneurs, you are not the emotion. You are the observer. You are awareness. Therefore, during a tennis match, for example, you're going to feel a lot of emotions, but the key is to not, how do I say this? To not get hooked by the emotion. Simply observe how you feel. And from that point of awareness, you can think, you can decide how you think, you can decide how you act, you can decide what you focus on, but not from a resistance point. If you're trying to resist how you feel and you're saying, no, I don't want to feel this, think positive, that's a form of resistance. Because you're not choosing to think positive, you're trying to escape how you feel. Does that make sense? Therefore, you are the observer, you are awareness. And from that point of awareness, you can choose how you think, what you focus on, and what you do, how you behave, and you can choose everything without reacting to how you feel. It's the same as if you want to go to the gym, but at the moment that you're going to go to the gym, you feel a lot of resistance and you don't want to go to the gym, but you're simply observe how you feel. You're not what you feel. You're not trying to get pumped up like, come on, let's go to the gym. Feel motivated, feel motivated. No, you're simply aware of how you feel. You're not the emotion and you go to the gym anyways without fighting against yourself, without pulling a fight against your emotions. There's no need to fight against yourself. Another important point with those emotions, most of the time we create those internal states or those emotional states through the way we think and what we decide to focus on. For example, if I wanted to start a YouTube channel, let's say in English, I'm Spanish, I'm starting a YouTube channel in English. If I start thinking, oh, people are going to judge the way I speak, I'm not as clear as I want to be. People are going to make fun of me. The YouTube channel is not going to go anywhere. It's not going to grow. If that's my focus, if that's the way I'm thinking, then how am I going to feel when it comes to recording a video and uploading the video to the YouTube channel, to the English YouTube channel? I'm going to feel like shit. But if I start thinking, oh, I'm going to start an English YouTube channel, a YouTube channel in English to expand my knowledge and reach more people in the English speaking market, and people are going to be so fucking happy that I appeared in their lives. If I focus on a different thing or different outcomes, for example, focus on if I have a different way of focusing about a certain thing, like uploading a YouTube video, I will feel much different. It's the same with vegetables, for example. Some people think I don't like vegetables, and when they have to eat vegetables, they feel like rejection towards those vegetables. They don't like vegetables. They feel like, I don't like vegetables. But if I change the way I think, oh, vegetables are good. My ancestors ate vegetables. Vegetables have been around for thousands and even millions of years, right? Then I will change the way I feel. What I'm trying to say is that most of the way you feel comes from the way you think. It's obvious that we are biological beings, right? Therefore, biologically speaking, we're going to feel emotions, right? Jealousy, anger, frustration, it's normal. But most of the emotions that we feel, or most of the emotional states that we're in on a day-to-day basis, we produce those states through how we think, through what we focus on. So start changing the way you think. If it rains, most people will go like, oh, fuck the rain. I don't like rain. I had a plan with a friend. Now I can't go on the plan because it's fucking raining. I hate the rain. How are you going to feel if you think that way? Horrible, right? But if it rains and you say, oh, this is such an amazing thing, such a gift from God, for example, you're going to change the way you feel when it rains. So start thinking the way you want to think. Start focusing on the things that you want to focus on. This is very important. Your mindset controls your emotions. Therefore, start thinking the way you want to think. The problem with most people is that their mindset is shit. Their mindset is a product of external circumstances and their own emotions instead of being a product of the mindset that you want to possess, that you want to have. So start thinking the way you want to think. The other day, well, something that I've dealt with in the past when I played tennis was frustration, for example. I got easily frustrated all the time, but I didn't understand why. And the truth is that I got frustrated because the reality that I was experiencing didn't match to the reality that I wanted to experience. Therefore, that difference caused frustration in my system. Before, I didn't understand this. So I reacted to that frustration. I got even more frustrated when I missed a shot, or when I lost a match, or when anything happened, I got frustrated, right? But I didn't know how to deal with those emotions. So most people try to control the emotion itself, like control the frustration, don't be frustrated, control the anger, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry. The problem with trying to control your emotion is that this is also a form of resistance. What you resist persists. So if you try to control the emotion will control you. Don't focus on controlling the emotion. Focus on controlling what's under your control. You can't control the way you feel. You can obviously influence the way you feel, but you can't control the way you feel. But you can control your physiology, for example, your breath, your breathing patterns, your physiology, your postures, your focus, what you decide to focus on. When I was frustrated, I focused on the frustration. I focused on everything that wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. Therefore, I created more frustration because I was focusing on things that were outside my control. But if I start focusing on things that are under my control, I feel frustration, I feel anger, I feel apathy, whatever the fuck I might be feeling, instead of focusing on the emotion, or instead of focusing on the things that produce that emotion, the way I think, I start focusing on my breath, for example. I start controlling my breathing tempo. I start breathing slowly, focusing on my breath, focusing on my body postures. And when I change the focus that I had on the emotion itself, the focus that I had on trying to get rid of the emotion or trying not to experience the emotion, I change that focus and direct it towards something that is inside my control, like my breath, for example, my breathing tempo, my postures, my physiology, my focus, then the emotion won't control me any longer. Because emotions come and they go. It's like a wave in the ocean. The wave comes, it forms, and then it goes. But the problem with most people is that when the wave comes, when the emotion comes, they get hooked to the emotion, or they get surprised that they're feeling the emotion, or they start rejecting the emotion, like I don't want to feel this, and trying to get rid of the emotion. And that's the problem, why you keep on experiencing the same uncomfortable emotions and are still being controlled by those emotions. So start focusing on things that are under your control, like your breathing, like your postures. This is very important. Another point is that you can think how you want and act how you want, regardless of how you feel. Most people have been used to living their life through the way they feel, that they're victims to the way they feel. And they don't understand that in order to transform themselves, in order to make progress in life and get to those next levels in your area of expertise, in your field or whatever, you need to start thinking the way you want to think, regardless of how you feel. And you should start acting the way you want to act, regardless of how you feel. Because if your feelings, your emotions control the way you think and the way you act, then you're living in the past. And you're creating the same fucking future that you've experienced in the past. But if you want to change that, you should start being above the way you feel, above external circumstances, above external problems, above the opinion of others, above your past conditioning, your emotions.